Hey everyone. Today I want to talk about the critical thinking and what is preventing us from really achieving what we're supposed to, quality of thinking that we're supposed to have when we receive so much information that it's going on right now on all social media and all the news um, channels that exist. So I wanna just bring you up to a quick point here, and I'm going to also share some of the information I have on my screen. But I want to start with something that's important for you to kind of contemplate, and we are in need to consume this information that's coming out there, and the way it is presenting to us, it's in a way preventing us to utilize the parts of the brain that we need in order to really think through and be aware of what's going on and have a way for us to really let all the information sink in and form the opinion that we're supposed to form without being pushed under stress or under fear. So let me just share quickly what I have here, because I think this is going to make more sense for you as you have a visual of this, okay? So what I'm gonna share with you is this part first. So we're gonna look at the parts of the brains that we have. Okay, we have 6 parts of our brain, and I want to make sure that you consider looking at what each of those are going to do for you, and understand that when we are under a certain stress or certain when we receive the information in a way when we're actually shutting down some of the parts of our brain. So I'm going to take a few minutes to just let you see this. Okay, we have the prefrontal cortex, we have neocortex, we have limbic, primitive brain, heart brain, and gut brain. And those are the 2 of them that are much more work has been produced around it, and it's very important to realize that those are also part of our brain. So we're looking at what primitive brain does for us, okay, and how it is wired to protect us, and it decides how we react to a threat. And at the same time, what my biggest problem, the reason I wanted to make this video was because you can't, when we're feel that we're under threat, the primitive part of the brain it kind of takes over, and our thinking it's not going to be as clear, because the primary thing that we're going to do is to make sure that we protect ourselves from the harm. So we'll look at the heart brain, how it does, and how we also have this syncing. It's a lot of work done around how are we synchronizing with each other, how we're feeling that if you're lying or not, how we're feeling if somebody's telling us the truth or not, and that's coming from the brain part, from the heart part, the brain. And then we look at the limbic system, right, and how our emotions, how our the way that we have, and all the pattern that happened, everything that happened to us is kind of lays out into that limbic brain. And storing all that history, it's now is going to come out, and all that information is going to be acting as a filters, if you will, to what the new information is. Look at the neocortex also, and how we store the information, basic thinking, and cognitive skills, everything that we do every day. And prefrontal cortex, which is the most important one that I would like for you to focus on this discussion, because this is hardwired for our high level coordination of the whole brain. And this is the one that gets shut down when we are we're using our primitive brain, and we are getting this piece not functioning correct. And unfortunately, this is where all the critical thinking and all the judgments and the difficult situations lies into. This is the part that it's so critical for us to even create envisioning possibilities for the future. And if that is shut down in that moment, then we're not going to be able to find a way, the best way to get out of a situation. And not to take the list, the last but not the least one is the most new work that has been put together for the gut brain, which is so important. The gut brain is totally revolutionizing what's going on right now, because it shows us that 90% of the body's serotonin is in the place where we just said that we're probably not even thinking about it. That's why what we eat and what we are eating and how we take care of our gut, it's become so important. And it's also playing a role in our learning and memory and cognition. So as you see, there's so many things that are going to contribute to what we're calling what's into the entire thinking process. So I wanted you to, after you look at all this, and after you also consider that if that is the situation that we're going through, and we are so complex, right? We have all those pieces that we need to put together. I want you to think about how are we actually consuming the information that has been presented to us, and if there is a way in which when we're getting presented the information, and I've seen this even in marketing right now and for many years, right, utilized, and even in all the places where you think that your primary interactions during your lifetime are going to, if you go and reflect to them, right, you're going to see that if you are not going to take in consideration the way you're using your words and in your impact that you're making on the other person, so your intention and the impact may not be synchronized. We all have an intention, but we're forgetting about looking at the impact. Or some people very well know what the impact is going to be, so that's why they're putting information in that way to you, because they want you to be shut down the executive functions of your brain, and they want you to not be able to see clear what the picture is or find a solution to that problem. So utilizing those few things, I hope is going to make you aware of what can you do right now to really consume the information that's coming up to you in such a way in which you take a little bit of your, let's say you don't like someone and you just hear information from what they do. So if you can take that filter out and just look at behind what they want to communicate or for their intention, see how that intention actually plays out. Because we can just come into a conversation with those preconceived kind of ideas about someone. If we do that, we already prime ourselves for not trusting that person. And in the same time, look at how people who may be holding a very high status in the society, they actually may not have the best intention for us, and they're actually kind of presenting us a solution to be all, and we'll have to stay and think about, hold on, that may not be the right thing to do for us. So I wanted to talk to you about this today, because all day long I was thinking about it, and I put myself a note on the Facebook, and I'm going to come back and give you some of my thoughts on this, because I think as is normal for us to kind of go on a ladder of conclusion, kind of come up to based on our reactions and our bioreactions and our feelings, we're kind of growing and making up our own story about something. We interpret it, we look at the meaning, we look at the assumptions. At the same time, and the thoughts and beliefs are getting to a certain conclusion. But although this is very normal and it's happening in everybody's head, we all kind of wired to the same, we're going to get to the best conclusions if we're actually not going to be under the stress and under the fear that kind of it's imposed to us. So if you can just take that fear away, if you can just think about it as not letting your brain be hijacked, amygdala be hijacked, and just let this chemical reaction going into your brain. Actually, it's like you're drinking from two cups, right? You're drinking from either a green and cup that has a drink that the color of it is green, and it's that what prefrontal cortex would like to have is a trust. Is that what oxytocin actually creates for us, and we start thinking and create and trust the other person, and then we're open to create something along with it. Or we're doing this with distrust. When we're doing with a distrust, then we have this amygdala, it's hijacked, and then our level of cortisol and adrenaline is going up, and at that point we're actually cutting off the connection, and the prefrontal cortex is getting shut down, and the primitive brain is coming out, and at that point now we're going to fight, and we're going to not be the right version or best version of ourselves.